Hey everyone, we are live. We jumped in a bit early. Let's give everyone a few more minutes to join. In the meantime, sit back, relax, and we'll start soon. Well, I'm going to take this opportunity, chance to ask our speaker to flash a quick smile at the camera to use it as a thumbnail for our replay video. Beautiful. Well, I see we have a couple more minutes left before we dive in, so let's do a quick icebreaker. What's something you're really into right now? Hobby, show, book, anything? Please post your answers on the comment box section and I'll start this off. Well, to me, what I'm really into right now is actually, I don't know, watching movies, like kind of a thriller, horror, suspense kind of movies. And that's what I usually do, you know, every weekend. That's me. What about you, Raja?
Oh, for me, I have a lot of interest. I love to read a lot, but these days I'm into the sci-fi thrillers. For example, there's a show called Foundation on Apple, which is quite amazing. That's what I'm into these days, and it's been written in 1960, but it's got a lot of technological advancements and things like that. It also has quantum, by the way, which was conceived in 1960s. So that's what I'm into.
That's awesome. That's great. That's great. Well, looks like we have one more minute. How's the weather where you're at, Raja?
Well, I'm in Texas right now. Usually, this time of the year is it's fall already, and we are prepping for, Halloween up here, and it's cold for Texas. Not for other places, but it's cold for Texas.
Wow, that's great. That's great to hear. Do you like cold kind of weather by any
No, I
chance?
live in Texas because I don't like cold weather.
That makes sense. Oh my gosh. Are you going to do something interesting, special this, um, this Halloween?
No, I've got grown-up kids. My daughter just turned 16, so she wants to hang out with our friends. So nothing more. Just enjoy, sitting outside and handing out treats.
Cool. That sounds amazing. Well, I think it's time for the event. Let's get this show on the road. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. Whether you're watching us from a live stream or from the VIP access, thank you. Thank you so much. Now, let me get my slide up right there. I'm Ella Fernandez, and I'm your host for today's Speed Tech Lead Expert Discovery event. It's great to have you with us as we dive into automating the cloud cost lifecycle. Well, joining us today is a technology leader with over 25 years of experience. Wow. Driving growth and innovation at Fortune 2000 companies and startups. Let's hear and get to know the CEO and founder of Cloud Metrics, Raja Pava.
Thank you, Ella. Hello, everyone. Great to interact with you through this opportunity with the BTechly forum. In terms of the background, as Ella mentioned, I've got 25 years of experience both in building commercial software as well as in management consulting, where I've helped a lot of customers such as CIOs, CFOs, and executives in IT optimize their IT cost. And we founded Cloud Metrics on one single premise. That single premise is that we help our clients demonstrate the value of every dollar that they are spending on IT. And we do that by bringing in our 25 years of experience, where we have handled more than multiple billions of dollars in terms of optimizing costs. And we combine our leading practices from that experience along with cutting edge technology so that our customers can enjoy reduced spend on IT cost without compromising on quality, and also streamline their operations and look good in front of their customers. And that's what we like to do every day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Raja, for that. We'd love to have you join the conversation. We'll spend about an hour together, and after that, you'll get a VIP chance to ask our expert questions live. Feel free to drop your questions or comments in the box anytime. We'll be watching and sharing a few during the session to keep things fun and interactive. Now, just a quick reminder to please keep the chat respectful and on topic. Now, if you can't stay for the whole event, no worries, a replay will be available. I'll also have the chance to book a meet and greet with our expert if you'd like. Our team will also follow up to get, soon to get your feedback, complete your voice verification, and help you set up a meet and greet if you want one. So let's get started and let's dive in. Let's start by examining our first data set, which reflects like insights from 40 business technology decision maker, that describes their role in cloud financial management or FinOps. I'm gonna pass it over to Raja. Raja, looking at the data on the screen, what stands out to you? And can you tell us how do the distribution of role impact decision making in cloud financial management?
It's a great insight, Ella. And I think this chart reflects what we are seeing in the industry is that, in the past or up until now, cost used to be only a management aspect of it, that only management and leaders are worried about costs. But the advent of cloud, as well as on prem, SaaS, AI, and all of these things, what has happened is that cost is becoming an important variable that everybody needs to consider. And more importantly, IT operations needs to consider a lot more because they are asked to demonstrate the value of operations, which is what the customers see day in, day out in terms of the value for what they are delivering. So I'm not surprised by it, but I hope others are not surprised by this who are in the field because there is a lot more push in terms of managing costs across the board from not only from leadership but also from people with hands on keyboard.
Totally. So you're not surprised with these data that we're looking at right now, like IT operations handles, cloud financial management, like 55%, that kind of thing?
That is true. I'm not surprised, but in fact, a lot of people may be surprised. They would think that the cost will be a factor for more folks at the bottom. For example, a finance leader, they could the executive sponsor, right? But I think it is becoming more and more. Cost is becoming a more and more an input and driven by operations as well. Because if you think of FinOps, what is FinOps? It's finance and operations.
Right. That makes total sense. Well, thank you so much, Roger, for that insight. Well, let's move from role impacts to pain points. So let's look at the next data set. This actually reveals what business technology decision maker sees as the biggest challenge in managing cloud cost. So Raja, what is your perspective on these findings? And what are the most overlooked challenges related to cloud cost management?
Well, I think this is very revealing, and what the industry is saying as well is that managing cloud costs is not the same as managing on-prem or any other IT cost. Managing cloud cost is that you're moving from fixed spend, variable spend. So that means most of your cost will go up as you consume more, right? It's like a vending machine. As you consume more, the cost will go up. What this does, and I think what I want to point out is that if you look at the bottom of the chart, Ella, there is a thing called manual processes 7%. And I want to touch
Right.
on that too. So there is a cause and an effect. The cause why cloud cost is unpredictable is because we don't have the processes, the tools, the systems, and the governance set up in place so that the leaders and as well as the operational folks are able to control, manage, and govern cloud cost. And the reason why they are not able to do that is because they have limited tooling, manual processes, and lack of visibility into cost. So if you really think about it, the things at the bottom are what
Mhm.
is causing the symptom or the react or the effect in terms of unpredictable spend. In fact, more customers at the top 10. And by the way, there is industry research as well is that many people when they look at the cloud bill, they are shocked because they expected cloud bill to be X, but actually it is roughly 30% more than what they expected. So that's where the unpredictable spend is coming from.
Oh, wow. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much, Raja, for sharing that um, insight. Now let's check out the next slide. So we've seen the scale of the cloud cost challenge, which is from the previous slide. Now let's zoom in on the possible day-to-day challenges you or your CIO are facing. So Raja, can you tell us a little bit more about this slide?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as we look at the cost and cloud, I don't want I want people to think about is that, cloud is a great equalizer in terms of trying to deliver value to business in a nimble, agile way. But it's a two sides of the coin. As you deliver more value, your cost will also grow up, and that's what we are seeing, a rise in spend across the board in terms of cloud infrastructure as a service, for example. But then what I'm also seeing in that is that as everybody knows that there is no conversation today that occurs without the mentioning of the word AI, right? What used to be machine learning, more engineering centric AI is like everybody knows ChatGPT today. Everybody knows, Google Gemini or any of those tool sets. But what's happening is that not only the rising cloud spend is increasing, but also the spend on AI is also increasing. And the reason for that is while it is good, the challenge with that is that we cannot control because AI costs are shared costs. You cannot pinpoint one with the other. For example, somebody may run a training exercise, can spend $50,000, but that system may be idle because of using different training mechanisms. So what's happening is the way the AI and ML are being used, the cost is not uniform. Secondly, the cost is unpredictable and complex. And that makes it very difficult for executives and practitioners to demonstrate the value of AI. Not only that, the last one is very, very important, Ella, for everybody that is listening in and called into this session is that 30% of expenditure is wasted. Most customers do not know which 30% or what.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we, most of the customers come to us to help them understand and saying, rather, where can I find this cost wastage that we can save, but also convert that saving into innovation spending, AI, in other new technologies. So it's money is there,
Mm-hmm.
savings are there, they are hidden.
Thank you. Thank you, Raja, for that. Are we ready to turn our attention to the next slide?
I'm right. Mhm.
Okay. All
So
right.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, tell us more about this slide.
Yeah, exactly. So as we've set the stage in terms of the, cloud spend is growing, the AML costs are also growing, but it is more complex, and there is 30% wasted. But the challenge is that many customers are in their cloud journey. Some may be starting right now, some are in the middle of their migration, some have already moved everything to the cloud. The biggest challenge that we see is that the more organizations, for example, 83% of the organizations are being currently asked to reduce cloud costs. Now, most people think that reduction in cloud costs means the reduction in value delivery. That's not the case. These are two sides of the coin. In fact, you can deliver more value if you are able to manage cloud costs better. In fact, compared to the olden days of on-prem, fixed costs, the cloud has a unique things where you have the observability of costs in real time. So what that means is that you as an organization, you are able to manage cloud costs
Mm-hmm.
through visibility, but you have to set the processes in place, you have to have the right tooling in place, but more importantly, you need to have right governance in place. And that's what helps define a well performing organization versus the organization that is struggling heavily managing their cloud costs.
Thank you. Um, I actually wanted to showcase one interesting question from the audience. How do you improve visibility into cloud cost across multi cloud environments?
That's a great question, Elan. There is another statistic is that so most of the customers have single cloud, but I think 7 out of 10 customers these days are moving to multi cloud, more than one cloud. In fact, if anybody has experienced the AWS going down, 2 weeks ago or a week ago, actually
Mm-hmm.
proves the point that you have to have more than one cloud. But then when you have more than one cloud, there are two issues with it. Today, many customers are using the tools provided by the tools, like, for example, Cloud Advisor or Cost Explorer to manage costs within AWS, for example. But AWS cannot see costs in Azure or Google. So you need to have a third party tooling to be able to bring in the cost data between multiple clouds so that you are gaining visibility, because the cloud provider tools does not provide visibility across clouds. So you have to have tools in there. But that comes with process challenge. You got to have processes to bring in the cost, to look at how the consumption is happening within those clouds, who is using, why are they using, when are they using, all of those questions. To answer those questions, you need the right tooling in place, supported by processes, so that you are able to make data centric decisions with improved visibility to multi cloud.
Thank you. All right. So I have another one in here that's really interesting as well. How is AI being used to automate cloud cost management and drive FinOps productivity?
No, so again, once again, great question. So there are two different constructs that I'm going to answer. One is how AI is able to automate cloud cost management. So one of the things that you could use AI, and in fact we're working on it, is that the anomaly detection. The anomaly detection, in the sense, today you can set up alerts in systems that basically says, hey, the cloud cost has increased 10% between yesterday to today. But how do you know that is an expected cloud cost increase? Let's say you have a new release that you have deployed. Let's say you have end of the year, like for example, retail, we see that every time they do sales on their website, they see increased cloud consumption because more customers start using your application. That means you will use more cloud resources. That means you will spend more. But today, there is no mechanism to really say that is expected behavior versus an abnormal behavior. That's where the anomaly detection comes in, where the ML machine learning techniques can be applied, which is subset of an AI to be able to decipher that, right? And then the other thing that you could do is that you could also see learning capability, like learning in the sense, let's say you are trying to terminate an instance or you're trying to downgrade an instance. You should be able to train certain models where you're okay to accept the risk, because you in your organization, the AI does not know whether it's a production and whether it's a high critical system versus low critical system. Once you train your AI, you can now auto accept these changes and improve productivity. And that exactly what goes to the second aspect of it, is you can now drive FinOps productivity. For example, you may have found 10 different recommendations in terms of cost saving, but how do you know which of these 10 has less risk versus more risk? Not only generally, but also within your environment. And that's what you can drive more FinOps productivity by helping the FinOps analyst be a lot more smarter and better.
Wonderful. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So, Raja, can you please walk us through on what we're seeing?
Again, up until now, the slides that you've seen talked about the cloud spend. But those challenges are not just restricted to cloud, but many leaders have the same challenges with IT spend. In fact, IT used to be a back office provider in the past, but in the last 15 to 20 years, IT is slowly coming to the front office, meaning IT is driving the business, or I should say, technology and IT are driving the business. For example, with digital technology and IT took the front seat. Now with AI, IT and technology are taking the front seat. But what that does is that it puts more burden on the technology team, on the IT team, to demonstrate the value. Now, to do that, they still have the same challenges: manual and rigid processes, which is what I identified earlier in one of your slide, Ella. Lack of visibility in IT spend, like for example, spend into on-prem, spend into cloud, spend into SaaS systems. Many customers have SaaS systems. Many customers have arrangements with private clouds, depending on, like for example, many of the financial services have hosted applications that are hosted by the vendor in a private cloud, right? You do not know the internal cost structure of those things. And unpredictable market shift. What I mean by that is that if you think about it, the AI is an unpredictable market shift. Now everybody's reacting to it in terms of how to take advantage of that. Things like that does impact, and for IT leaders, they do not have a mechanism to be able to respond to these challenges unless they solve the process, the visibility, the governance, and the tooling that goes along with it.
That is a very great advice. Thank you so much, Raja. Well, what an insightful session. Now it's time to shift over to our VIP experience. To those who's not part of our BTechly community, I'm inviting you to please visit us online at btechly.com and sign up to be part of our growing community.